For today's project, we're going to be using a basic paper plate. If you don't have a paper plate, that's okay. Use any kind of piece of paper. So grab a plate or a bowl and put it on there so you can trace it and make the shape of a necklace. To decorate it, you have all kinds of options. First, you'll need a pair of scissors so you can cut out the shape. You'll need a pencil, but to decorate it, anything you want to use that can give a lot of color. So you can use markers, you can use colored pencils, you can use paints. I want to give credit here to the Art Prep website where I found the idea for this art project. They used a lot of paint to create theirs. Hi class, it's Mrs. Latinsky back for another art project. Today we're going to learn about a tribe in Africa called the Samburu Tribe, and they make really gorgeous necklaces out of natural materials like bone and shell and even pieces of human hair that they weave into them. These necklaces have been found in archaeological sites, and they are as old as up to 75,000 years old. That's a really old form of art. I'm wearing an example of our art project today to remind us of these gorgeous necklaces that the Samburu people make. You know, they're not just a pretty necklace, they're also symbolic. They mean things. Something that is symbolic means it stands in to represent something else. And in this case, these different patterns and designs, they send a message to other people in the tribe who knows what those patterns mean, and that can tell them about maybe which group within the tribe they belong to. Jewelry actually performs the function of beauty and decoration, but it also sends messages, it communicates. So art can have the function of beauty and communication as well. Our element of art today is color, and our principle of design is pattern. You can see how there's a lot of different colors in these beautiful necklaces, and each individual strand of these necklaces has a pattern to it made out of these colors. And they are often very complicated patterns because here we have 3 strands of blue, 1 strand of orange, 1 strand of black. And then we start over with orange, 3 strands of blue, orange, and black. Do you see how that's a pattern that includes several different colors, and they are repeated in a certain way all the way around? And they have a whole bunch of them that do this. So when you create your own necklace, think about how you might make your pattern more complex by adding more levels to it of lines. So maybe 3 different lines here, maybe 1 line here, and how you repeat those colors throughout the pattern. This woman from the Samburu tribe is wearing some of the traditional necklaces. We also can see some lines that are kind of diagonal here, and they're repeated with a color scheme. It's got red, black, and blue. Red, black, and blue. So that makes it an ABC pattern where red is A, black is B, blue is C, and we're back again to A, B, C when you have 3 different colors that are repeated in a pattern. You can also do an AB pattern, which is like this yellow and black pattern, which is just 2 different colors. So you have yellow and black and yellow and black. That's a much more simple way to do a pattern, but you can make them even more complex with an ABCDE pattern if you really want. Here are some examples my daughter's made. This one's Grace's. But you can see she has repeated dots here. She also has a pattern of lines. Go around. You'll notice there's several layers of design, so pay attention to how many layers you want to have in your work. Here's a necklace Lizzie made. You can see there's a couple different layers. She has a very thin layer on the inside where she outlined it in red, but then she has this blue layer, and you can see there's a pattern here where there are square shapes that inside each square is another square of a different color, so she kind of builds inward there. But then she also alternates those squares, so this one has the outer layer of this square is purple, but the outer layer of this square is blue, and they alternate purple, blue, purple, blue, purple, blue. So the pattern's there, but the pattern's also within each square or rectangle shape. She also has a shape she repeats here. I told her it sort of looks like an avocado, but here's one of them and another one, and then in between it goes yellow, so it's an alternating color. That AB pattern kind of a green, yellow, green, yellow, green, yellow. So when you look at your paper plates, first make sure you only have one paper plate. These things stick to each other, so take them apart. But once again, you can trace a paper plate or a circle shape on another piece of paper if you don't have paper plates. Try to stick to the paper plates that don't have any kind of waxy finish on them so that it'll absorb whatever colors you're going to put onto it. This is just as plain as you can get with a paper plate. Nothing fancy about it. First thing we're going to do is actually cut out the center. On my paper plate, there's a clear line. I don't know how well you can see it though, but there is a clear line on the center of this plate. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to first cut that out, but let's save it because you can use that to make a smaller necklace if you want to make it for a doll or a pet. You can cut a line straight in to that other line and then go all the way around and cut it out. If you want to do a smaller one as a necklace, cut straight in and decide how thick you want the necklace to be, and then cut another circle. But there you go. And now you have one that's a good size for a pet, like a little cat maybe, if you have a cat, or a doll. They work great for American Girl-sized dolls. We're going to take this necklace and we are going to turn it into several different layers because remember, those necklaces or the samburus have a lot of different layers. So I have 3 layers, 1, 2, 3, and then you hit this textured part and you can decide if you want to create some design that involves using the entire oval shape in between each of those lines with ridges, or you can choose to cut those into pieces if you want to. Okay, here's a little trick. If you choose a light background color, do that first because you can always color the dark colors on top of it. And it's easier just to lay down the full background color instead of having to fit the color in later. Now that you've set your background, now you can start to do your patterns. You can choose shapes, you can choose simple lines. I might first put lines in and then include a shape afterwards. When you create a line, you actually are creating a shape. Notice each of these lines creates a rectangle. See, I created this horizontal line. Maybe every other one will have a horizontal line through it now. Why not? You don't have to have every section have the same pattern or repeated element. You might choose to have it repeated in an AB pattern for every other one, or ABC pattern every 2. I'm not sure what this is. I'm just making some dots in the alternate ones. I don't really have a plan when I start out. I just go with it, see what looks nice. I think I might add some additions to these lines. So maybe every other line, I'd like to add a green line. It doesn't have to be a single line. I could make it a double line. Some lines can be thicker than others too. There's no rule that says you have to have all the lines be the same. The negative space, basically the part of the plate that I don't color, ends up looking like an intentional white bead or line in there because the Samburu people use beads. So we'll call the white parts white beads. How about that? Not just places I didn't color in. And when you zigzag, you're actually creating triangles. So it's an easy way to make shapes with a simple line. I'm going to do A, B, C, repeat. The one last thing you can do is in between these layers, there's room to make a line. So you can separate them. I'd used a pencil before, but if you want to separate them with a line of color, it's almost like adding another row of beads. And here we have the final necklace. Thanks for joining me for art today. I hope you enjoyed the art project and learned a little bit about another culture and their unique art form that allows them to create beauty and to communicate as well.